This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, everybody. This is the week 4 live session for Color Theory. This week, we're going to be going over package design. I'm just starting out with the schedule for the week. You should get used to the rhythm by now. Live session tonight. You're going to upload your initial work to the discussion on Thursday, provide some peer feedback by Friday, and then you're going to complete a package design. Once you get that done, all you're going to do is then create a presentation, a video presentation from your template using all the work you've done so far. So this week should be pretty simple in that you're really just doing one new element for your brand. So any questions about the schedule before I move on? All right, everyone's good. So color and packaging. So why do we put package design into color theory? Well, if you think about it, package design uses the element of color in a big way. When you first walk into a store, the first thing you see is the color before you even see the logo or see the type. And color signals so many things to us in the world of package design. It tells us the quality of things. It tells us what kind of thing it is. And all different aspects of that. It's a flavor cue. When we see it, it sort of indicates a flavor. If you think about it, it's a bit of marketing too, because as we walk through the store, we look at the shelf and pick out the things that we want. So we're sort of grabbed by the packaging. The trick is to identify with your category and stand out from the competition. So when I say category, I'm talking about the type of product you are, like cookies, candy, coffee, tea, soap, whatever that product category is, you need to look like you're part of that category. But at the same time, and almost paradoxically, you want to stand out from the competition. So it's a bit of a trick. I always say it's like picking out that outfit to wear at your high school senior end of the year party. You want to look cool. You want to look like yourself. You want to look like you belong with your friends. But at the same time, you don't want to look like you blend in too much. So it's a balancing act between blending in and standing out. If you think of it like a person, like your product's a person, this is called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so this sort of contains all the things that people need to live, like we need food and water, we need to feel safe, we need to feel like we're part of a group, we need to feel like we're a valued member of that group, and then bring it all together. Packaging does sort of the same thing. It protects the product from the elements, keeps it together. It's part of a brand group, a category group, and you want to be a brand that stands out in that category group. So if you think of it that way, it's kind of like you're dressing up your product. A bit of marketing and a bit of protection. So here are some chocolate bars. Do these all look like chocolate bars to you all? No. All right, everyone agrees no. Anybody want to venture which ones look the least like chocolate, or do any of them look like chocolate? Yeah, Steven says black and red looks the least. Yeah, black doesn't seem like a great product, food color. Like it doesn't really seem like a flavor. Um, it kind of deadens it too, I think. Blue for me is not a food flavor. Blueberries are purple. There really isn't a food that's blue, so this kind of leaves me in the dark as to what this is. This one looks like chocolate because it has chocolate color cues, but maybe doesn't stand out enough. This one could be wasabi. I don't know. Grass. Taste the rainbow. Black and this light blue. Again, that light blue color doesn't really signal flavor to me. Mint. Yeah, Tanya. All right, so here's some other chocolate bars. Do these look like chocolate bars? Yes, says Crystal. All right, Crystal, tell us why. What's helping you feel like these are chocolate? The shape, the design, the color, yeah. So now this has that same kind of blue that doesn't really look like chocolate, but I think the logo really helps because it looks like it's made of chocolate. It's like raised glossy brown ink. So it almost looks like it's dripped in chocolate. So you have something to signal a flavor cue, and that really helps. I think the design is handsome and nice on this, and that makes me think that maybe it's quality product. Do you think this, how much do you think this costs per bar? Yeah, 250, $4. Yeah, expensive. It does have an expensive look, which comes from the design. That's actually a good thing. All right. So be different, but be the same. How are you going to do that? Here's some tea boxes. I like these, look like little kettles. Um, Ice cream bars. These stand out, right? Would you eat these? Do they look good to you? Steven's in. Angela says yes. Yeah, if the product is really pretty, you should show it. In this case, they're giving us a lot of flavor cues with the imagery in the background, telling us what's in there. The gleaming chocolate and the bright colored berry flavors really are appealing to us as humans because we're attracted to ripe fruit. It's got a South Indian design, like a South Asian design kind of, which maybe makes it stand out a bit, feel exotic and a little special, perhaps. Here are popitas, which are little potato sticks. I like this packaging. It's very whimsical and fun, which kind of fits with this product because it's not like a serious food. It probably doesn't look that pretty by itself, so they did illustration instead. So sort of pushing the fact that this is fun. And and there is a lot of letting me know what the flavor is. Uh, Firefly. This one again has these botanical images that really help me cue into what the flavor is. Do you like this design, guys? Yeah, it looks good. I love the logo. It looks like a little bottle fly. Pastels are in, says Stephen. Yeah, I agree. All right, this is Castor and Pollux. It's a pet food company. And I really like this dog shampoo. Make it look like a fire hydrant. Here, Converse. So a few years ago, Converse was in dire straits, going out of business actually, and the Chuck Taylor classic sneaker would go away forever. So they couldn't let that happen. So they came up with this packaging idea to make it look like vintage wine. Really sort of emphasize the classic nature of this shoe. And it really got some attention and brought them back on the market enough to have Nike buy them. So Nike now owns them. Um, if you look at the details, it's really well done. They even tag the tag. This is from a website called Design Force Inc., and it tells you everything that you should consider before executing design and color choices in packaging. And Design Force Inc. manages and creates designs and manufactures packaging for virtually every major company in the U.S. Procter & Gamble, General Foods, oops, go back. And I think that you guys have this covered. Like, what does your brand stand for? You should know that from your creative brief. Who's your customer? Well, you know that because you did your target audience. What about the brand color included prompts a buy response from the targeted consumer? So when you look at your creative brief, you're going to see something about what is unique about your product. You want to make sure that people know that either through a descriptor line or through imagery, something that tells them why this product is buyable, what's about it. when packaging products for a global audience, what meanings are ascribed to the colors used? Well, we're just really kind of thinking of North America, but if you were marketing to a global audience, you have to think about different cultures and how color plays out differently in different cultures. If I were to teach you all that, it would take a year of the class, but you should just be aware of that and sort of looking around the world, seeing what's going on with color. Can a unique color be developed to support the brand? Well, you have your assigned color. That's what you're working with. How does chosen package color or color combination make the consumer feel during testing phase? So you don't really have a testing phase, but you could send your package to people in your target audience that you know and ask them how it makes them feel. Like they say, yum, I would love this, or yuck, I would hate this. You don't want design advice, you just really want a reaction, a gut reaction. And then this last one is if you had more than one item in a product line and they were together, but you really only have one product, so we're okay. So really you've got it covered as far as being all the things that you need as a professional package designer. More examples. So this is Monchaco, Artisan Chocolatier de Côte d'Ivoire. A little bit of gold kind of makes it feel fancy, upscale, and they're using what I would call an illustrative pattern. So it's like an illustration, but also a pattern. And there's the pattern. What do you guys think of this? Crystal likes it. It's different, right? It's different than most chocolate bars. It's white chocolate, so maybe there's not as many chocolate colors. But the little bit of gold foil makes you feel like it's very fancy, right? So it could work. Here's another chocolate bar. So this one uses okay, so let's go back. Steven says the label and the background don't have enough color contrast. So this white label on a white field, not enough contrast. I agree with that. I think that's valid. I think the fact that it's thicker and it's raised up a little bit helps, but I would definitely consider more of a color contrast there. Good observation, Stephen. All right. Mandarin. Okay, so this one, this is called Loving Earth. And they have this illustration of what looks like a cacao pod, but like as if it was made of chocolate. And they have little flavor cues in terms of the color, and there's a mint leaf, here's the orange segments and an orange background. One thing they're doing, which is kind of an interesting design principle, is they repeat things in a very sort of organized way. Everything's the same size, same spacing, this kind of thing. But then they vary the color, which sort of makes the variation of color stand out even more. But if you change the design and the color, they wouldn't feel like a brand. It would all start to fall apart. I think this works pretty well. And there it is, like it looks like a set of books. This is a restaurant in Russia that serves pizza, burgers, and sushi, believe it or not. It's called Mama Mafia. And if you look at this logo, very simple logo, but with a lot of personality, kind of fun. I can almost hear the voice of the woman from the Goonies. Anybody get that reference? Yeah. No nose, no lips, no, not even eyes, just the glasses. The fedora has this blank spot for the hat band. It really works well. Simple, kind of wax seal looking thing. And they're also using spot illustrations, almost like a pattern. So they're having fun with mafia, yakuza. There's a color palette that's sort of meaty and ties everything together. And I think it's fun. I think being a little dangerous is okay for fast food, because fast food is a little dangerous, maybe. Maybe sushi in a fast food restaurant in Russia might be dangerous. There's the pizza box. Here's some candy. This is buttermilk, and the logo kind of looks like it's a word mark, but it's kind of dripped in butter. The picture of the product is not particularly appealing. It's not super pretty. So they added some illustration. So combining illustration and photography, that's a cool thing to do. You could do that. And they've got a little illustrated pattern along the sides of the box. It's kind of fun. All right, now we're gonna play a little game called Before and After. I'm gonna show you some products, packaging that was redesigned, and I want you to tell me what they changed and why. So starting off with Luden's, there's before at the top and after at the bottom. What did they change and why? And if you're in a quiet place, please just turn on your microphone and let's hear it.
And the colored bottom
Yeah, there's
to
more
match
color.
the
Go ahead, Stephen.
they chose colors based on different flavors.
Yeah, so the more color to really signal the flavor more strongly. Louder title, Ian, I think you're talking about the logo, bigger logo. Yeah, Crystal's saying the logo. The logo is a little more dominant, and it has a little lilt to it, which is probably a little more playful and fun. I think that this original brand is very old and it feels very medicinal. And this feels a little more like a party, like candy, probably because the market changed.
Catching.
Yeah, and they've got better illustrations, which helps. A better design overall makes you feel a little more confident about putting something in your mouth, you know? The window, do you notice that? They moved it down so that these hang on a hook. I'm sure when these hung on a hook, they looked empty. They pushed it to the bottom so that you see them. This product is okay to see because it's got sort of artificial bright color, more so than other things. All right, next up, Don Julio, before on the left, after on the right. What did they do and why?
They cleaned up that front, the front like label a lot, simplified it.
Yes, they definitely did. And why would that be a good thing? Obviously.
Well,
See the
you're
name.
gonna want to see the brand. You're gonna want to see what the product is. All the other details can really be on the back, and you're fine.
Yeah, right. The bottle shape, yes, Crystal. This bottle probably fits in a box a little less conveniently than this one. This is maybe a little easier for a bartender to hold. But there's some advantages to this bottle shape. Can you think of any?
Unique.
Say it again, Stephen.
It's unique.
It is unique, yeah. It's a little old. Is that what you said, Angela?
Yeah, I said, well, it seems like it will better fit in your hand.
Oh, maybe. This bottle makes me feel like the old Mexican men are sitting around the table smoking, and this one feels like margaritas at the beach, maybe, from a bottle shape standpoint. I do like what they did with the label. This agave plant here, just going behind the type, sort of ghosted back. It just creates like dirt, like it's hard to read and interfering. You don't really get either the type or the agave. They put it in a little ring here, and it's like a light golden color, which makes it feel very special. And then they added the silhouette of Don Julio, which I sort of, you romantically see him on horseback surveying the agave fields, The type is cleaned up and better proportioned, and there's substantial information here, but it's just organized better. Crystal says the color, yeah, there's a bit of golden going on here. This is kind of pale yellow, and it became gold. I think that's a little better read on that.
The red's a little more poppy too.
Yeah, this red seems like a better fit than this. This is a better photograph. That's part of it, I think. But
Okay.
Next up, Michael's Peanuts. Before on the left, after on the right. What do they do and why?
Well, they changed their packaging.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tanya.
Well, I was just gonna say that they made Michael's Farm, which is the brand, like larger, because that's what we need to know who the brand is.
Oh, yes. Well, specifically farm, right?
Yes.
Ian, what were you going to say?
Said they cleaned up their the way that they're packaging it a little bit. That big M is kind of distracting away from what Michael's is, and they switched out how they present their product, the packaging.
Yeah. So the big window with the M isn't doing a lot for the branding, right? Whereas a farmer on a tractor sort of tells me more of a brand story, right? Also, a window to show the peanuts. Peanuts aren't particularly pretty or unique, like all of them look alike, so showing them in a window isn't necessarily an advantage.
They also added more information.
Yes, Angela, a little more deliciously salted, which I don't understand how you would do that, but it still sounds good. Grown by nut farmers devoted to providing you with a great snacking experience. Well, this is a little over the top marketing, but yeah. They're trying hard. Grand nuts from Michael's Farm. So the package shape, how about that? What do you think the difference is there?
Looks like
I think
there's
the
more.
packaging. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Angela.
Oh, I said it looks like there's more in the bag.
It's a bigger bag. What were you going to say, Stephen?
Yeah, the packaging on the left to me looks like something you would find in a gas station, where the one on the right looks more, premium quality, like it says right there on the front of it.
Yeah, so like I always say, this is 7-Eleven on that aisle where the Band-Aids and the motor oil are, where no one goes. This is Whole Foods over here, right?
Yep.
The logo hierarchy is opposite. That's a good point. They made farm bigger than Michael's. And I think that that's a specific marketing push, you know. Somehow the farm aspect was what they were working against. So this could come from anywhere. They come from a factory. The fact is all peanuts come from farms, so but it's got a bit of romance to it that helps. All right, lasagna, before on the left, after on the right.
A lot of red.
Yeah, red background. I don't know if I would have put that on red background, but red versus blue. All right, let's discuss that. What's the advantage of red over blue in lasagna packaging?
Marinara
Just makes-
sauce.
Yes, it's more of a food color, right?
I think based off my experience, most pasta companies will have a blue box, so the red kind of stands out against a lot of the different companies.
Either an
Yes.
Italian color.
Yeah, so the colors of the Italian flag are red and green, red, white,
Yeah.
and green. So they've got that, they kept that. I think this looks like Kraft macaroni and cheese because of the blue box. As Stephen, you pointed out, yeah, a lot of companies use blue. Somehow this feels more like a food color to me and a little more high end. How about the photo?
Looks a little more appetizing on the right.
Yeah, this is like school lunch here. That's Gourmet Magazine. So when you're thinking about your package design, you can use photography, but just make sure it's good photography and that it communicates the message you want about your product. All right, next up, water. This is the before here and the after. This is a close-up of the label here. What do you
Kind
think?
of looks a little bit fancier.
Yeah, well, that was Tanya, right? Yeah, fancier. I agree.
Yeah, they went
Is that-
from like the Walmart brand water bottles to something you'd want to see next to, like, I don't know, your high-end water bottle, like a Fiji or something like that.
Right. Definitely upgraded the look of it. in terms of quality. The pattern design, yeah, this silver on white, very subtle. It looks a little fancier. This looks like, to me, like pool chemicals, right? With the,
Yeah, it does.
I'm like, I don't want to drink pool water. And this looks like vodka. You guys agree?
Yeah.
So how much is this per bottle over here?
2 for a
98.
dollar.
Yeah,
He said
two for a buck, right? How about
I
the
like
one on the right? What do you think that's worth?
$3.99, $4.99.
Right. So the difference, you just made the company a couple of bucks per bottle because of design. So think about this as you go forward in your career. As a designer, you're adding value. You're going to add value to the bottom line of whoever you work for. It's not just playing with art. It's not just frivolous. It's serious work, and it actually adds money to the bottom line. So I want you all to be thinking about this when you're out there negotiating your salaries in the future.
Right.
Beer, before on the left, after on the right.
Looks a little more crafty on the right.
Yeah, a little more crafty, a little better design, a little better organized, right?
Yep.
What's the first thing you see on this label on the left?
India.
India.
India, right? That's not the most important thing. In fact, India, even by itself, it should be India Pale Ale. It's not Indian beer. It's not, and the logo is not really a logo. It's anemic. Here, it's bold, it's strong. The other information, there's hierarchy. Logo first. This is the secondary information. Then the rest of it's kind of organized, but out of the way. It's a matter of sort of staging how you see something. So first the logo, then what the variety is, a little more about it. All right, this is Rice-A-Roni. This is not great design, but I use this as an example because this package has everything that could possibly go on a package in spades. So so we're going to look at this. So when you look at your package design, the first thing you want to figure out is where is my primary display panel? And primary display panel is a specific term used to describe what faces the consumer when it's sitting on the shelf. So that's where Captain Crunch's face goes. In this case, it's this panel right here. Specific things must go on the primary display panel. So let's break this apart and go through it, all right? Number one, your logo. You've worked so hard on your logos. Use it. It should be the main thing on the front. A descriptor line. This is key. You want to tell people what your product is, what's special about it. In this case of Rice-A-Roni, long grain and wild rice, and then they have a second descriptor line, tender long grain and wild rice with herbs. So they're really pushing it. Ingredients, you got to add some ingredients. I'm not going to proofread these, but if you find something similar to your product and grab the ingredients and typeset them in. Net weight, this must go on the primary display panel, and it has to be highly legible according to the Federal Trade Commission. In the case of Rice-A-Roni, they put white type with a black outline because it's over a photo. Now, sort of a design tip, whenever I have to put something on a page, I always put that first so that I don't get a great design almost done and then realize, oops, I've got to stick something else in. So you don't want to end up doing that. So grab the stuff that you absolutely required to have, put that on the panel first. Nutritional facts, you're going to grab some nutritional facts and put those in just for design's sake, for reality, if the product has any nutritional value. So if it's soap, for instance, you don't need to do that. Coffee and tea are on the margins. Sometimes coffee doesn't need it. It depends on if it has any nutritional value. You have to add that. Barcode on the bottom, on the back, out of the way. Directions. This is a great way to get people involved if it's not if you don't need directions, you can tell a story. We've been doing this the same way for 350 years. Whatever the story of your brand, give a little bit of a story on the back. If somebody goes through the trouble of picking up your box in the store and flipping it around to look at the back, you better give them something interesting to read. Let me go back here for a second, back through all this. So among all these things that I didn't highlight here is the photo. So I want you to see that in case of Rice-A-Roni, they're not showing the raw packet, the raw elements. They're showing it completely prepared, placed beautifully on a plate, very appetizing. You want to think about what is the photo, what is the image that I want to have showing people. So if it's something like, for instance, coffee, you might not show raw coffee beans. You might show a perfectly made cup of coffee in a circumstance that matches something with your brand. And these are just thoughts. You don't have to have a photo, but if you do, make sure it's appropriate. All right, your template, there are 2 templates. I'm actually going to jump out here and go over to the assignment. And here we are.
As far as
So,
coffee goes,
yes.
the nutrition label, do we still need to put that on there? Because, I mean, for coffee, it's
You don't.
pretty much
No,
just
you
coffee
don't.
beans.
Yeah. Typically, coffee wouldn't have that.
Okay.
All right. So here's the assignment. There is minimal information here, but the video tells you a lot. So make sure you have all this stuff on there. There's a video here that goes through how to use the template we're providing and a bit about adjusting the template. You're gonna actually download, where is it? You're kidding me.
Yeah, I couldn't find it earlier, so I had no idea where it was.
Okay, so I will make sure that the package, all the package files are here shortly after we finish this go-to, and you'll download those, and this video will then make sense. There are 2 options for you to use. You don't have to use both. Pick one or the other and use those to work on your package design. So the way I would work is you're going to work flat in Illustrator and create some designs. And then when you get to something you really like, you're going to use the 3D Photoshop template to apply that design to the template and have a 3D package. You can do more than one if you want. One final is required, but 3 designs at least, 3 options before you get to the final. So when I look at the files, the discussion on Thursday, I'm hoping that you all upload 3 options of package design to the discussion. That's crazy. I'm sorry the files aren't there. Any questions right off the bat from about the package design?
Not for me.
All right, I'm going to show you something as a resource for creative inspiration. This is called the DieLine, DieLine.com. The DieLine.com. I'm going to copy this and paste it in this text frame so that you guys can go there and bookmark it. This is a professional package design website. So real package design companies are putting their work here. It's sort of a showcase of package design work. And one of the things I want you to take advantage of is this little search window. So for instance, if I click in here and say coffee, excuse me, it'll bring up other people's designs for coffee packaging. Iced coffee, here's some coffee. And you can look and see, what do people put on their packaging? What kinds of things? Let's see. Food and beverage. Yeah, so here's an example. Interesting Stark design. Not a big fan of this, but some of these will give you some ideas, some inspiration. There's a bit of color there that's quite nice. I've never seen this before. So anyway, I encourage you to go to the die line, check it out. Hopefully it'll provide some inspiration. I will be uploading the files shortly. And I look forward to seeing everybody's work on Thursday. That is my lecture for tonight. I'm going to end the recording.